Hello, everyone, and welcome back to SecTalks Sydney Ninja Night. This session is NN0x08, or the 9th version, another online version, and we're sitting here with Gareth from SecTalks Hobart as well. Would you like to give a brief introduction, Gareth?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, look, just wanted to say a big thank you for the Sydney team, including Hobart, in this event. We're a little resource light down here in Hobart because we're a much smaller place than Melbourne and Sydney and the like. So it's a great opportunity for us to get involved and work on something that a lot of the guys normally wouldn't have the time to put together. So we're looking forward to more of these remote joint sessions.
Yeah, us too. So yeah, we're gonna just go through a quick introduction as we typically do on these Ninja Nights. We are here to put our information security knowledge into practice, to have fun, learn, and mentor ourselves and each other. And we're here to play a CTF or a capture flag competition. I'll talk a bit more about this in details a bit later. But none of this would have been possible without our sponsors, which is PwC, SecTeam, Google, and Atlassian. And yeah, this is the agenda for tonight. We'll go through the introduction as we normally do. Then we'll have Shaba to present their solution from last month's CTF. We will also finalize the player registration and team registration for people who have signed up using the Google form and wants us to place them on a team. Then we're going to start the CTF. And as that finishes up, we'll do like a conclusion or a pack down at the end, I guess. So yeah, a CTF is a computer security challenge. And it's typically to find intentional weaknesses or security challenges. And yeah, the objective is to find a flag of some kind. And a flag is just a particular type of a string or a string of characters. And it can come in many forms. In the past, there's been secret files, secret records in databases, environment variables, etc. And they're typically in this form here, SecTalks squiggly bracket XYZ. If that's not the case, it is specified in the challenge description. We're also managing the CTF using a CTF dashboard, which is where team users create their profiles, they join a team, and where the challenges will be as well, and also where you submit your flags and get internet points or challenge points. So yeah, we'll give you some instructions now on how to join. And if you haven't already joined a team at the CTF platform, just want to again highlight, we have highlighted this on the meetup page, but also I'll do that now to be safe. Tonight's session is not running the typical CTF Sydney dashboard. Instead, we have a custom CTF dashboard for this CTF in particular, and we'll talk more about this CTF in particular later. But this is the platform, the elasticctf.oldmate.com and port 8000. That's where you'll need to register your account. And if you've filled out this form here, which means that you want us to put you on a team, you will have received an email or will shortly receive one with team credentials. So you'll still need to create a user account on this CTF platform and then join the team that we've assigned you. So keep an eye out for the email, or feel free to also use the comment section here if you have particular questions. Here again, teams are sort of random, at least in a small section. This is more from the real life events. We just haven't had capacity to do that to the same extent online. And this is the format. Please find a way to contact your team members and communicate throughout the challenges. That's how we learn from each other and mentor each other. And yeah, so creating a team means you create the team name, password, and then you share these credentials with the other players on your team. Once we start a CTF, all the challenges will be visible as well. I think currently that's already set up. We have a timer as well that will start. It's a 60 minutes CTF. For tonight's session, we can continue after that time as well. We'll do a ramp down, and if people want to keep continuing playing the CTF, as always, we can use the Slack or etc. to communicate and continue playing throughout the night for those who would like to do that. And we consider typically the first team that solves a challenge to be the winner. And the winners are invited to present their solutions next time and also create the challenges for next time. And that's also how we make this community self-sustainable. There might be a few easy challenges as well. And if you find them too easy, feel free to not submit that and let others have a go at that, so we get more newcomers as well. These are the high-level rules. It's a place to learn and have fun and mentor each other, etc. Not so much, don't think of it as a competition, despite the format of it being. It's a 60-minute challenge officially. We have hints that will be given out periodically and publicly. And here as well, if you're more experienced, feel free, and you're strongly encouraged to mentor more beginners as well. And also, again, please don't ruin the experience for others by taking down the platform or dosing systems or destroy things really. So be a bit mindful and respectful about that. And we do have an online rule book as well at ctf.sid.sectalks.org/rules. And after session networking, I know a lot of people want to network after these events. Feel free to use the SecTalks Slack channel, and some of us will be there afterwards as well. So if people have questions, so want to just network, that's a good place to be. Today on Slack, these are the people. I know I don't, which is me. Sachex is also here. Pedram as well. So feel free to hit us up on Slack if you have questions, or even more, feel free to use the comment section on YouTube or the SecTalks Slack channel as well, and we'll monitor those closely as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Next up, we got Shaba that's going to present their solutions or walkthrough from last month's challenge. So I'll just get him to join the stream.
Hi, Steph. Thank you. So as Steph mentioned, my name is Csaba Peter. I am an application security manager at Atlassian. And today I'm going to talk about the two challenges that we had last time, the solution for these ones. Let me just make my slide. Cool. So the challenges last time, they were all about JavaScript obfuscation. I picked this code from Wikipedia. Obfuscation is the deliberate act of creating source or machine code that is difficult for humans to understand. Just to visualize that, this is the normal JavaScript that you would see in the browser. And this is how it looks like when it's obfuscated. So it's not very easy to read. I have to confess that JavaScript is not the language that I particularly like, and you can tell why. So the first challenge was an easy one. The title was I Miss Travel, and we also got two hints with the challenge. One is if you try the search function, and the other one is if you stayed at a nice hotel. The website looked like this. On the right-hand side, you can search for a booking. So that was just a hint to use that particular section to find where the JavaScript actually gets triggered. If we look at the source code, we can see that already something has been triggered. We can see that SecTalks try harder, so that's just an error message or a hint, pretty much, that something is going wrong. And at the very end, we have a JavaScript, which is js/easy.js. So that's the JavaScript that we need to look at. Once you view the source code, you're going to see something that's not very readable. Luckily, I was using Chrome, and the developer tool has a debugger, and also it will format the source code for you. So as you can see, the source code, it doesn't look quite readable. It's obfuscated. However, at the very bottom of that source code, you can see something like if there is a condition, some condition is met, then there is a post, and then there is a ready state. So my approach was to run a proxy, and when the page is loaded, try to load a file, like this file in particular, from my local device, and then I can modify the file locally and load into the browser. So that's how I approach this problem. So for that, I used char's proxy. So pretty much you can map a path from a website into local file. You can use burp or any other proxy that supports this feature. So what I did, I just blindly copied those two lines above the if statement. I assumed that something has to be going there, and I was hoping for the best. And it turned out that that was the only thing that I had to do, and the flag was displayed in the console. So that was a pretty easy one. To be honest, I didn't even look at the source code, what it does. Just copy-pasted two lines, and that was it. The second challenge was a little bit, well, actually, it's much harder. There are two hints. The skimmers don't prefer debugging the script, like if you debug the script, and also you can't log anything into the console. So this time around, it wasn't that easy like in the first easy challenge. I actually had to understand what the code does, and you will see what I had to deal with. First of all, when I enabled debugger, I opened the debugging console. Actually, the debugger paused and I couldn't see anything. So this was the first time I saw this, to be honest. So it was a good learning experience. I had to figure out why this is happening and where the code actually triggers this debugging process. The code itself, if you look at it again, it's lots of gibberish, lots of obfuscation. There is a section with a bunch of base64 encoded functions. So if you decode them, you will see there are JavaScript functions encoded there. And then at the very end, there's lots of code going on. So I assume this is the logic where most of the things are happening. So my first challenge was actually to enable the debugger and be able to see, like, do step-by-step progress in the script. I did this initially with the trial and error methods. I tried to remove functions, and at some point I saw that if I'm removing L and the function like the end parameter, then the debugger started to work. So what that does, like the L is defined as a function, and U6 reference to the base64 encoded strings. So at the end, ln equals with eval debugger. So if you have a JavaScript and you just run eval debugger, you will see the same behavior as we saw before. Just here, the debugger is paused. So I had to look for all the occurrences where L or eval debugger is called, and it turns out there is another place when it's using directly eval debugger, the string itself. Before, the end variable was constructed with a bunch of other variables. I didn't necessarily have to look for each individual one. I just looked at the end value. So once I removed these two, or actually commented them out, I was able to start debugging the code. I tried to display all the encoded or base64 encoded variables in the U variable, and once I did that, I saw that in the console, all I got is something fishy is going on. So even if I did console log or I did alert, the same behavior. something fishy is going on. So indeed, something fishy was going on because console.log was disabled. So what they did in the source code, they actually overwrote the console log function. So every time when you were calling console log, it was just displaying one single string. So I had to disable this one, and then console log started to work. Similarly, alert was also reverted to the same message. So my first thought was, okay, let's just disable this override, and then I can use alert as well for debugging purposes. So that was my first intention. However, there is a very clever function in here, and it's actually checking how much time it takes for you to, if there is an alert box, how much time it takes you to close that alert pop-up. So if you enable alert, the script is going to detect. So what it does is it's going to display an alert message. And if you didn't redirect that to the console log, or if you just had it as a pop-up, the next line is going to check, okay, previously the time was this, now the time has passed because it takes time until you click. And it's actually going to return a different value for this function. And we will see later on that this function is used to return a key used to decrypt the message. And if you had an alert box, or if you had your debugger and you stopped somewhere while you were debugging and you were doing a step-by-step instructions, the script is going to detect and your decryption is not going to function. So that was pretty clever. I thought I'm going to share this particular function because this is a very neat way to prevent debugging. So after a while, like I've been keep looking on the execution part, I ended up looking or getting to this function. And again, looking at the base64 encoded variables, like you see U38, U52, and so on. If I replace those ones, the code would look like crypto.js, decrypt, and then an F variable that's coming from one of the get endpoints, and then the password or the secret passphrase to decrypt that message. And that's coming from the previous function I showed, the A. So if you have debugging, that decryption would not work. And then we had the B, which is just the transformation of the decrypted flag. And I just console logged the flag, and that was mostly about it. Cool. Steph, back to you.
Thank you, Shaba. Yeah, feel free if you have any questions to post that in the comments field. Yeah, thanks again. Also, I just wanted to, sorry, I'm just gonna go back to the slide deck for the introduction once more. Thank you very much, Shaba. Okay, cool. Just want to make one quick correction. So also want to thank Amazon as a sponsor. I was a bit outdated or on outdated slides, but yeah. Also, we're gonna take a 5 minutes break till 6:25, and then finalize all the teams. And then we'll be back and start CTF. So see you then. And welcome back. We just had a couple of minutes to finalize everything. I'm here with Josh, who has created tonight's challenge and is going to give you a quick introduction to it.
Thanks, Steph. So I've made this CTF basically entirely in Elasticstack, and it's meant to be just a kind of simple way to get into the Elasticstack program and to have a play around and learn a little bit about it. I think it's a really cool tool, and it's used in quite a lot of defensive security roles. Yeah, we'll just get straight into it. So basically, just thought I'd give you a quick overview because it is quite a daunting program to look into. So what is the Elasticstack? Well, it's 4 different open source programs. It also was formerly known as the Elk Stack, but now they've added the beats to it. So they've expanded it to just be Elasticstack instead. So you have the 3 core components of Logstash, Elasticsearch, and Kibana. They make the stack, and then beats what feeds in the data to the stack. So what can you do with it? Well, you're able to input data, and then you can search and filter it, and then you're able to analyze it. So here's an example of a log that's been input into Elasticstack. So this could be like system logs. In this case, it's a website log. So you can take all these fields and essentially make different visuals and make it easier to see. So when you're dealing with thousands of logs, it's a bit easier to look at. So for the CTF, you're going to mainly be using Kibana, and there are 4 main menus that you'll really be playing around with. There are quite a lot of other menus, and I encourage you to go ahead and take a look around and see what else you can do on here, because at the end of the day, this is mainly to just learn and play around with Kibana. So I just thought I'd give you a quick overview of what you're able to do, because being thrown into something like what you can see here, this is the Discover page, might be a bit daunting as to what you're able to do on here. So this is the Discover menu, and on here you're able to do a couple different things. You're able to filter out the logs according by date. You can change what data set it's coming from. You're able to separate and filter by fields and search. And a lot of this will be detailed in the challenges itself as to what you'll need to actually do. And then individually down here in the bottom right, you're able to see these are the individual logs. And if you want to, for some of the challenges, you're going to have to expand those, and you'll be able to see kind of all the information that's on there. So here's the dashboard menu. So in here, you're able to, this is where you're making visuals and you're able to see visuals. There are quite a few different dashboards, but you'll only have to use 1 or 2, and the challenges will highlight which ones you need to select. Here's the scene menu. So in here, it's kind of like dashboards, but more security orientated. So there's quite a lot of information on here, but you're able to see different things like successful login attempts, failed attempts, different events, and all this will be useful for the CTF challenges. Now, I just thought I'd highlight, so the data was input in between these certain ranges that are highlighted on the menu on the CTF dashboard, and the way that to make sure you get all the logs that you need within the timeframes that are in the challenges, you need to pick from 00 on the day that it says to 00 the day after, just to make sure you get all the logs, and that way you get the correct data. And this is finally just the stack monitoring dashboard that you're able to look at. So this is the fun part, the CTF. So it's made up of 21 beginner challenges, and then there's 15 scenario challenges that are all kind of bundled up in one scenario. Each of the challenges will be in their different categories and fields according to what kind of menu you need to be using. And I would recommend going through the beginner ones first and then jumping into the scenario. So that way you're able to figure out and try and find the best way to do it. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy. Have fun and play around with it.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. I'm gonna just quickly change the screen to my screen where we will have the timer running. Also, just want a quick addition to the platform is that there is a challenge called Start Here. So if you didn't write down, which I was very impatient about removing the creds from Josh's last slides, they would be in the Start Here challenge. So obviously, start with that challenge. Other than that, I think we're ready to start the challenge. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna start the timer. And yeah, 1 hour from now, so at 7:30, this will officially finish up, and we'll get back perhaps with hints throughout the session or announcements. Otherwise, I'll see you in an hour.
Fantastic.
And
Yo.
time's up, everyone. Hey, let me stop this timer somehow. How do you do this? All right. Yeah, thanks everyone that's participated. We now have Josh back again. That's gonna just quickly give us a rundown of the winners.
Yeah. So I've just got it on a separate screen, that's all. So MQ is currently the winner. They are at 341 points. I believe they just had a couple more challenges they haven't solved. I think there's one or two left. And then following them is High Key and UTS CSEC. So, and Fort. All three of those second place are tied. So at 271 points. The challenge will be up for the next week, though. So.
Yeah, nice. Congrats on the winning teams, and we'll reach out over email within the next few days, or at least within next week, and talk with you about presenting your solutions and or contributing challenges for next month's challenge.
For sure. I also have a walkthrough I'll be posting as well.
Sweet. That's awesome, Josh. Yeah, so stay tuned for Josh's walkthrough, and just on behalf of SecTalks, want to thank Gareth from Hobart SecTalks once again. This was a collaborative session, and thank you, Josh, for creating the challenges and really putting this all together for tonight's session.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's it from me. Anything from you, Josh?
Nope. That's all.
Cool. Thank you very much. And I'll see you on the SecTalks Slack. Have a good night, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.